My wife was breathtakingly beautiful, one of the most stunning women one could ever lay eyes on. But because of her beauty, an unsettling fear constantly gnawed at me. I was always afraid that someone might cast an envious eye on her, try to lure her away, or worse, win her over. I kept a close watch on her, showering her with love and attention so she would never feel neglected or seek affection elsewhere. Yet, deep down, an inexplicable dread had settled within me from the very beginning of our marriage. The thought of having such a beautiful wife felt like both a blessing and a curse. Wherever we went, eyes followed her. Sometimes, I even wished she wasn't so breathtakingly attractive. Perhaps then I wouldn't feel so anxious all the time. Lost in these thoughts, I reached home, not realizing how quickly time had passed. It was evening when I stepped inside, and just as I did, my phone rang. Seeing my friend's name on the screen, I picked up. His voice came through, cheerful as ever. "Hey, I planned my sister's wedding for tonight. You both must come." I was taken aback. "Tonight? That's quite sudden," I replied. He laughed and explained. "The groom is leaving for abroad in 2 days, and he wanted the wedding done before he leaves. You remember how much you praised this family? I looked into them. They're really great people. There is no reason to delay." His words reassured me, but another worry crept in my mind, getting to his house. It was quite far, and by the time we reached, it would be late. "Can't you postpone it until tomorrow?" I suggested. "No way," he insisted. "Tonight it is, and you must come." He ended the call before I could argue further. Sighing, I headed to my room. As I entered, I saw my wife standing in front of the mirror, smiling to herself. Seeing her so happy made me feel at ease. She rarely smiled, and when she did, she looked even more beautiful. "What's making you smile like that?" I asked playfully. She blushed, looking down shyly. "I was just thinking about you." I knew exactly what she meant, but there was no time to indulge her desires now. I was already late. Instead of moving closer, I bent down to take off my shoes. I could sense her eyes on me, puzzled and slightly disappointed. "No need to be surprised," I said with a smirk. "I'll make time for you later tonight. For now, get ready." She looked at me with confusion. "Where are we going?" I explained about my friend's sister's sudden wedding, and, as expected, she was just as surprised as I had been. "Why the rush?" she asked, frowning. "That's their decision," I shrugged. "We can't question it now." Without further argument, she hurried into the bathroom to freshen up while I quickly changed into my clothes. When she emerged, dressed elegantly, I couldn't help but smile. But behind that smile, the same lingering fear crept into my mind, her beauty, her charm. As we prepared to leave, I felt an uneasiness settle in my chest, like an invisible shadow lurking over us, whispering that something wasn't quite right. And deep inside, I knew tonight would not be just another ordinary night. My wife looked absolutely stunning that evening, so breathtakingly beautiful that anyone who laid eyes on her would be captivated at first glance. And that was exactly what worried me the most. The fear that someone, somewhere, might try to steal her away haunted me like a shadow. I was just an ordinary-looking man, and deep down, I always wondered, was I really enough for her? She often reassured me, whispering sweet words, "As long as you're with me, I'll never look at anyone else." Yet, an unsettling doubt remained lodged in my heart. I ushered her into the car, and we set off for my friend's sister's wedding. As we arrived at the venue and stepped inside, a strange sensation crept over me, a heavy, burning gaze drilling into my back. I turned slowly, and there he was, an old enemy. Our eyes locked, and I could feel the tension thickening between us like an invisible storm brewing. He wasn't just any enemy. He was the man who once desired my wife, the man who had fought tooth and nail to have her. Our rivalry ran deep, rooted in the very moment I had proposed to my wife before he could. He had tried everything to stop me, to make me step back, but I was too deeply in love to surrender. Since that day, enmity burned between us like an unquenchable fire. He didn't take his eyes off my wife, his gaze lingering too long, making my blood boil. Instinctively, I moved to shield her, but before I could say anything, she walked right toward his wife with a bright smile. I clench my fists. Why does she always do the exact opposite of what I want? Left with no choice, I followed her. My rival stood tall, watching me with an unnerving smile. He hadn't changed, still cunning, still dangerous. His wife, unaware of our past, innocently asked, "Is something wrong between you two?" Before I could respond, he suddenly pulled me into an embrace. I froze. I never expected this. And then, leaning in close, he whispered in my ear, his voice dripping with menace. "I'll take back what's mine soon." The words sent a cold shiver down my spine. My fists clenched tighter, my pulse racing with fury. Before I could push him away, he stepped back, grinning casually and asking about my well-being as if nothing had happened. My wife, sensing my anger, gently touched my arm, trying to calm me. I glanced at her, the concern in her eyes momentarily easing my rage. Without a word, I pulled her aside and sternly warned her to stay away from his wife. She looked at me, eyes filled with guilt, and nodded. "I'm sorry," she said softly. "I won't give you any reason to complain again." Her quick apology surprised me. I expected resistance, but instead, she surrendered too easily. A nagging thought clawed at my mind. Was she hiding something? Just then, my friend, the groom's brother, appeared and wrapped me in a warm hug, breaking the moment of tension. "I'm so glad you made it," he beamed, then turned to my wife, greeting her with a handshake. I watched, feeling a sharp pang of discomfort as their hands met. It wasn't jealousy, at least that's what I told myself. In their culture, such greetings were normal. But what unsettled me was how effortlessly she responded, without hesitation, without a second thought. Was I overthinking everything? Or was there something lurking beneath the surface that I had failed to see? The evening wore on, but the unease inside me never left. My eyes kept darting toward my old rival, who stood across the room, sipping his drink, smirking at me from time to time. He was up to something, I could feel it, and I had a feeling tonight wasn't just about a wedding. It was about something far more dangerous. It was as if everything was perfectly normal for my wife. She avoided my gaze and casually said, "I'm going to check if Sarah is ready." I quickly nodded, giving her permission to leave. As soon as she walked away, I felt an unsettling presence beside me. "Arsalan." He leaned in and whispered with a smirk, "You're really lucky to have such a beautiful wife." I turned sharply toward him, studying his face. There was a strange glint in his eyes, something I couldn't quite place. Suddenly, an uncomfortable thought crept into my mind. Why does it feel like my friends are paying too much attention to my wife tonight? Trying to mask my unease, I forced a smile and replied, "You should get married too. I'm sure you'll